And welcome to Chamber Chat, a program in partnership with WIMPEG, Western Oregon University, and the Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center, in which our members are featured so our community can get to know them better. Joining me today is Tina Andersen, who is the fair manager at the Polk County Fairgrounds and Events Center. Tina, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So I know you're not originally from Polk County, and I've heard this story, but the others may not have. Why work in Polk County? Why work at the fairgrounds? What got you here?
We actually threw a dart at a map, and it landed in Salem, Oregon. And then we ended up over here. We actually ended up in Dallas, Oregon, and then I just ended up at the fairgrounds.
Just you stumbled upon it, like, hey, they're fairgrounds.
No, actually, my daughter was showing animals at the time, and I got suckered in as a volunteer, and it just sucked me in from there.
And once you started, you just haven't stopped.
I haven't stopped.
So how long have you been with the fairgrounds now?
20 years. 15 years their manager, and I worked there 5 years before.
And do you see another 20 years? Because you got the time.
I may. I don't see myself working anywhere else, so probably.
So you really just found a home at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
Like you were volunteering, you got the job, you've been there, and it's really just your home.
It's home. It's a passion.
And you got a good staff?
I do have a great staff and a great fair board.
And so what's your favorite part of the fair?
Probably the annual fair, probably the kids showing their animals.
All right. Now, beyond the fairgrounds, you are an event center. So
yes.
I know some people are surprised. I know through the chamber, you hosted one of our forums where you gave a tour of the fairgrounds and event center. And we've had people talk about you make announcements when you come to our events. And I think people are still sometimes surprised that the fairgrounds and event center is not just the annual fair. Like you do a lot more than, quote, just the fair. So what else goes on?
We do 600 events a year, about 600. Depends on what year it is.
How many days in a calendar? That's a lot.
We do multiple events. For instance, this weekend we're doing 2 huge events on the fairgrounds. So
what's coming up? We're taping this in early June. So what's coming up this weekend?
So the flea market and the auto swap meet are this weekend, and then we go right from there into a gun show.
And the flea market is every month.
It's the first Sunday of every month except August.
And because that's when the fair is
happening.
Because
the fair is there. We actually have a fair.
So now that you've been in Polk County for the 20 years, or you've been at the fair, but you've been here for a while, what would you say is one of the unique features about our area?
Probably the people. This is a great community. You can actually walk in an establishment and people will greet you at the door like they've known you all their lives, which is really nice. You don't really get that when you go across the river. It's just sort of people barely look up from what they're doing. So here, though, you walk in a business and people greet you at the door. It's the people. It's the community. I raised my kids here. It's home.
Now, as far as your professional accomplishments, what would you say has been one of your greatest professional accomplishments?
Probably pulling the fair out of debt. When I started, it was $65,000 in debt, and they were going to close the doors. And I talked them into giving me a few years. I actually asked for 5. We did it in 3, and we pulled it out of debt, and the doors are still open, and we're still operating.
Which, across the state, across the nation, how are other county fairs faring?
Not well. Several of the other counties have actually closed their doors and just have a volunteer group come in and put the fair on. It's an extremely difficult profession to be in today's times when you're competing with computers and video games, and it's just not the same as it was all those years ago when people only had one big party to go to.
You're right, because there's so much going on.
Which is great,
going on. Even in our community. It's great that we have all these different activities and events. At the same time, they are competitive with the other great, amazing events and activities.
But they all have their own niche, which is really nice. Because like we don't try to compete like bringing in big name entertainment, because that would be silly when you can go across the river up to Portland and see a really nice show.
Right.
So we don't even try. So we try to keep it that small town country fair.
And when you said that you turned the fair around, you asked for 5, you did in 3, $65,000 under. Do you know one of the 1 or 2 things that you did the most that really kind of had the greatest impact on changing that?
Probably booking the facility all the time. I think we did maybe 25 events a year when I started, and I just started selling the fairgrounds. Everywhere I went, every time somebody brought up that somebody was getting married or that they were having a birthday party, I said, I know a great place to have it.
We have a larger room, we have a smaller room, we have the kitchen.
Anytime I would hear somebody talk about putting on a new event, I was right there. I know where you can put it on.
So you really help it be more than just the fairgrounds and actually transitioning more to the event center
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So people didn't think of it just, I'll come down here in August once a year
Yeah.
and do the fair. Now I can come here, like you said, have a birthday party, have a retirement party, have a wedding.
The fair pays for itself, barely. But you can't really charge more because then it just wouldn't be a fair.
Right.
And so we had to do something to keep the doors open, and those year-round events are what keeps those doors open.
So for this year's fair coming up in August of 2015, any big changes, any big announcements you want to go ahead and get out there, or can you say anything?
Yeah, we have some really huge changes. We've moved our stage, which is great. We're bringing back the Rough Stock Rodeo, which we haven't done for a while. We're also bringing in a monster truck this year, and they're going to do free rides in the arena on Saturday. So we've got some really cool stuff going on.
Nice. All right. Now, on the personal side, what would you say has been one of your greatest personal accomplishments?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple. So I was the youngest fair manager in the state of Oregon for the first 5 years I was there. No one that young had been a fair manager before.
Wow.
That was kind of cool.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, and I've also been married for 31 years, which I think in these days is pretty good.
That's really impressive. No, I would agree. And you can tell the people when I've done the chamber chats and someone who has that 20, 25 plus years of marriage, that's usually one of the things that person says.
Yeah.
Because it is true, sadly, in this day and time.
It doesn't happen all that often
Right.
anymore. So,
and there's sometimes good reasons for that. All right, so being a young, successful fair manager and a long-time commitment with your marriage. Very good.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Now, when the fair has been, or the Fairgrounds and Event Center, you've been a huge supporter of the chamber. Like I said, you've hosted our forums, you attend our forums. You and Linda specifically have been very active with the chamber. What would you say has been one of the greater benefits of your chamber membership?
The networking is great, but I think for us, a lot of it is those little extra chats that you do, the little pep talks. Those are great for us because they're close. They're only an hour, hour and a half, which for us during a busy day is fantastic.
Right.
So for us to go to any kind of training takes a lot away because there's only 5 of us that run a 36-acre facility that has events going every day.
Right. I mean, again, you said you have over 600 events in 2015 already booked.
Yes.
And we're just now into June.
We're booking we're booked through 2018, and we're starting the 2019 book. We have a couple of Saturdays open.
Okay, just a few Saturdays. So heads up out there, if you're looking to schedule an event, please use the Fairgrounds and Event Center, but make sure you're looking ahead.
Look ahead.
Not last minute. But if anyone did want to use the facility, they would just call.
They just call the Fairgrounds. We're also online. You can actually take a virtual tour of every one of our buildings, so you can pick a building.
That is a nice feature. I've played around with that before, just looking at it. So I would know more as well of what's out there, just to tell people, you know, when they're looking for a facility, well, you can do the virtual tour.
Yes.
It's a very nice benefit.
It is a great benefit.
Now, this is my personal favorite question I get to ask everyone. What would you say is a skill or hobby that you have that would surprise people?
Oh.
Or an interest?
Okay, well, I would rather be on a four-wheeler on the top of a sand dune than anywhere else in the world.
Wow. Now, how did that come about?
Actually, I met my husband when I was 15, and he taught me to ride a dirt bike, which I was really bad at. Apparently 2 wheels and I don't get along. So he bought me a 3-wheeler. And then, of course, when 4-wheelers came out. So we've been riding. I've been riding since I was 15, taught my kids to ride. It's a family thing that we do, and I would much rather be on the top of a sand dune on a 4-wheeler than anywhere.
So where do you go around here?
We go either to Sand Lake or to Florence.
Okay. And those are your 2 favorite spots?
Those are my 2 favorite. Florence is my favorot.
Is there a sand dune somewhere in the world that you would like to check out?
I would love to ride the St. Anthony Dunes in Idaho.
Okay. Not familiar with those.
Haven't got there yet. Been kind of busy.
Right. 600 events a year. What are you talking about?
My husband says that we'll be putting our wheelchairs on our 4-wheelers and doing it when we're like 90.
There's nothing like that. You hear sometimes how people skydive for their 80th birthday or their 90th birthday.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be on top of a dune.
There you go. We turn a 95 with a 4-wheeler on the sand dune. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Tina, for chatting with me for these few minutes.
Thank you.
And good luck with the rest of this year and the continued success for the Fairgrounds and Event Center.
Thank you.
Hi, and welcome back to Chamber Chat. Joining me now is Tina Mulkey, who is the owner of the Independence Liquor Store. Tina, thanks for being here.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
My pleasure. So, jumping right into our questions, why have your business in Independence, Monmouth community? Why, of all the places you could have a business, why here?
I kind of fell into it. And the liquor store was already here and established, and the owners were wanting to retire, and I figured it was about time that I'd do something for myself, and so I decided to become a business owner at that time.
And how long have you owned the liquor store?
Towards the end of June, I've had it for 13 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you grew up in Polk County, right?
Yes, I grew up in Monmouth and Independence. I went to school here, grew up on a farm south of Monmouth, and did everything here, moved away for a few years, and then I'm not a big city person, so I came back to hometown to raise my daughter, and that's what I did.
So you're raised in Polk County, Monmouth Independence, move away, realize, miss the place, come back, then happen into being a business owner.
Yep.
All right then, that's not a bad story. So being the fact that you were raised here, but then you did move away, and you saw the value of coming back, what would you say is a feature that makes the Monmouth Independence area or Polk County as a whole unique? What's really something that separates us?
Separates us is that we're a lot friendlier than most towns. I mean, when I came back, I knew a lot of people, but I did meet a lot of new people that have moved into the towns, and now we've grown quite a bit since I was a kid. And people are just a lot friendlier and communicate more, talk about a lot of things, what's going on. Every day I always get asked, oh, do you have, a store that does, some clothing or something like that, and I'll send them to one of the local places. But, most of the time it's just visiting with people and finding out what's happening in the community, and we do a lot of that.
Right, and that's a standard answer. In fact, Tina Andersen from the Polk County Fairgrounds and Event Center was here before you, so it's a Tina day. But her answer was very similar in the friendliness of people and just how you walk into a store and you're greeted.
Yep.
You just don't walk into nothing, or the person doesn't they don't yell from you or to you from the back of the store. They actually make the eye contact with you, and you just feel more welcomed. And
yep.
So I'll agree that the friendliness of the community is quite nice.
Yes.
Now, professionally speaking, what has been one of the greatest accomplishments that you've had professionally?
Professionally was owning a store, being a business owner for myself, because I grew up on a farm, and on a farm, you're kind of directed by who owns it and that stuff, but my dad did, but most of the time we knew what we were doing. Now it's like I got to direct the people that work for me to do what I need them to do at the job. And so that's kind of, nice learning facade. And I keep, learning every year. You learn new things from different employees, what you bring in, because I have a kind of a turnaround at the store. Not everybody stays for umpteen years that you wish they would, but...
Well, that's true in a lot of businesses.
Yep.
Just the turnover rate.
Yep. But, you learn some from them, and they learn a lot from you. So that's what a lot of it is. It's
just not only being the store owner, but working with people, being a store and managing your store.
Yes.
And so what has been, would you say, a challenge being a business owner? Because it wasn't what you set out to do. It wasn't like you had this dream of, I want to own my own business one day and I'll take all these classes and all this type of thing. You just sort of, it sounds like you had the opportunity, you thought, why not do it?
Why not?
So what's been a challenge?
The challenge is working with the state. You got to make sure you balance your books every night, because you're doing their deposits and your deposits, and sometimes it could be off, and then you're trying to figure out where in the heck did I lose it at. So it's the balancing the books every night, make sure everything's even. That's
so
my
math
biggest.
Is your friend.
Math is my friend. Yes, I'm a math whiz in my own mind, but it's just that there's times that you go, what the heck did I do wrong? Sometimes you kind of get the little poll. That what did I do today?
Right. So you said you were raised on a farm. Mm-hmm. What was that like? As far as, did you like it as a kid, or was it just all you knew, so therefore it was fine, or is it something you was it good, bad?
You have your days, like during the wintertime we go to school. That was our 9 months off from working on the farm, because we were a grass seed farmer. So when it came summer, from June until September, we go back to school. We were either on swathers, combines, driving trucks, or bagging seed. So you were cleaning. So it's like a good 12, 14-hour day you were putting in. And it's usually 6 days a week. Dad would always give us Sundays off to let the kids reboot. You got to let us do that. But, it was a lot of fun. And you grew up with different equipment. It started out with these hand-working equipment, and then now it's all electronics. on the equipment, so it's, you know, changed in 20 years, 30 years. So it's like, when you grow up, it was fun. We got to do our, you know, things. We got invited to barbecues at Helmick Park, and we'd be driving our Swathers. We'd pull those in, park them, and go and have a hamburger or cheeseburger or something, then go back to work in a couple hours. You know, that's what we would do sometimes.
So did school almost feel like a vacation?
Yes.
No.
Playing sports was another vacation, too.
What would you say has been one of your greatest personal accomplishments?
Raising my daughter and having a grandson. Those are my best ones. I enjoy both of them all the time. And he calls me Nina because he's got 2 other grandmas, great grandmas, I should say. So he calls them grandma, and I'm supposed to be a grandma, but he calls me Nina. But
Nina.
Yeah, those are my 2 accomplishments I really enjoy the most. I love them and talk about them all the time when I can.
So how old's the grandson?
He's 4.
I want to ask about age of your daughter because that's not your question. But so he's 4.
Yep.
So he's really getting into the fun age.
Yes, he is. Yes, he runs and hugs you and kisses you and wants to sit on you while we're watching movies. And it's all kinds of fun. Play with toys, get out. I have a dirt yard, so we go out with all these Tonka toys and dig up dirt and make piles and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So he's just a fun little guy.
So some of the toys you could buy, you could be like, when I was a child, I used to drive this.
Yes. Well, no, he gets to see it in real life. He could take his toy and go, oh, God, it's 20 times as big as what I got here. Yeah, and just think, in about 10 more years, you'll be crawling up in there and driving it.
Does that sound exciting? I guess his 4-year-old boy, that would be really cool to think.
Oh, yeah. Well, he gets on there with his uncles, and they let him run the controls, but he's sitting on their lap, you know, and so he'll run the controls, and he'll come in, I just loaded the hay onto the trailer, Nina, and I got to run the controls. So, you know, it's really fun to see it, the excitement and the energy he gets out of it. So, yeah, it's good.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the chamber, you've been a member of the chamber for, well, as long as I've been around here, and longer than that. What would you say has been some of the benefits of your chamber membership?
Doing the calendar when I have tastings at the store, being able to list those, and then being able to know what is going on during the months. Because, you know, sometimes I'm at work and I'll lock out everything, and then all of a sudden it's like your calendar pops up on a Friday, and oh, what's going on this weekend? So that's kind of nice to have those reminders.
And I have to admit, you posting the tastings makes me laugh because I think it's great that you do it, and I do appreciate you doing that. And we want to encourage people, any public event that's open to the community, please post it to the Chamber's calendar. And we have your tastings there now, and I had a former intern who was a student here at Western, and he had shared the idea of the community calendar with some of his friends. And his friends were like, I don't care about a community calendar, until one of his friends pulled it up and saw that you were doing a tasting, and he's 21, so it was fun. But also the kid's like, wait a second, I can learn about this on the chamber calendar. And he got really excited that tastings were posted, so it made me chuckle. And we have another fan now because of your tastings. So, but it's a nice educational way for people to learn about what you sell and products and whatnot. So. Now, my favorite question that I get to ask people in these chamber chats, is there a skill, a hobby, or an interest that you have that would surprise people?
Oh, well, you know, my big interest is drinking. I have to do that. Really, I just like to be low back and just like watching movies at home and being comfortable. I'm with people all day long. Sometimes I just like to check out and be alone.
So, favorite types of movies?
Oh, I like the adventurous ones, and then sci-fi type. Some of the Dracula movies, I like those. What else do I like?
So you're not the romantic comedy?
Not always. It's in there, but you know, sometimes I just, you know, some of them are just too jerky.
So basically, you're dealing with customers throughout the day as you're running your store, and when the time is up, you just want to go home and maybe have a cocktail of some sort, and enjoy a good movie, hang out with maybe your daughter and grandson, and that's a night. Yep, that's a night. Sounds relaxing to me. Yep. Well, thank you so much for being here and being a part of Chamber Chat. Enjoyed your time. Thank you. All right. Good to see you. Hi, and welcome back to Chamber Chat. Joining me now is Rich Washburn, who is the Vice President at Eola Hills Wine Cellars. Thanks, Rich, for being here. Thanks for inviting me. Now, as I just learned, you actually were born and raised in Corvallis, but why work in Polk County and why work at Eola Hills? Well, I had owned a little country store north of Corvallis, the Lewisburg store, City Limits Country Store, and Tom, who's the founder of the winery,
used to come into the store all the time. He lived right up above the store, up in Vineyard Mountain. And I used to mail off wine for him. I had a UPS area there at the store and a post office. And we developed a relationship, became friends, and then when I sold my business, he invited me to, or asked if I'd be interested in working at the winery. Prior to that, I bought shares in the winery after I sold my business, so there's kind of a little connection there. But that's what brought me to Polk County, into this community.
And how long ago was that?
It's about 16 years.
Wow, 16 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've been, well, again, you were raised in Corvallis, so you're from Oregon and not that far away.
Right,
but
right.
What would you say, as an employee working in Polk County, what makes Polk County really separate or unique from other areas?
Well, you know, Corvallis and North Corvallis is kind of a small community too, in retrospect. But Polk County is even smaller, which I really like. I mean, it's community driven. The support from the chamber and other businesses for our business, just in this little area, is huge. So that's, you know, you get those small communities like that, and you get that sense of just connection, and that's really what drives our business, and in turn helps us to support all the other businesses.
And your support is, well, on behalf of the chamber, thank you, because for 2 years now we've had our annual awards banquet at Eola Hills, which has been a lot of fun for us.
And good for us, too, so that's a good thing. Yeah.
But you do that for a lot. PCL has their auction, their annual summer solstice auction coming up later on in June.
We do.
And they host it there, or they have it at Eola Hills. I know you do a lot of that. There's constantly events and activities, it seems, happening at Eola Hills.
We do a lot of events. We do a lot of fundraisers, a lot of community-driven fundraisers and events like that. PCL, we have a great relationship with them. We basically donate the facility for that. That's one of their bigger fundraisers of the year, their art auction. And you know, we sell wine there, so it is a win-win for us. But it actually, it's one of those feel-good events that, you're doing a good thing for the community and the people around, so it's great.
And then, of course, you do your Sunday brunches.
We do. And if you've never been, you won't leave hungry, I promise.
Now, last time I saw you, you were preparing for Mother's Day Sunday brunch, and apparently there was maybe a little overbooking.
You tend to overbook those a little bit because you're thinking you're going to lose 10 or 15%, but we didn't that Sunday, so we made it happen. We kept a lot of people happy with an extra glass of wine or two, so it ended up being a pretty good thing. So,
and you have a good staff, obviously, in your tasting room.
Absolutely. We have, everybody that works for me or for Eola Hills and for us, our goal is to hire people in the area. We try to as much as we can, and folks with some relationship skills, because that's really what drives our business. We have good wine, and our winemaker is great and everything, but it's that relationship that we really
your winemaker Steve was awesome, because back in March, Eola Hills, you hosted our monthly forum, and the point of that monthly forum was to take a tour of the facility. So the chamber started last year in doing tours of some of our local businesses and areas, and we have one coming up at LK next week. We're filming this in early June, but so in March we got to take a tour of those who showed up for the forum of Eola Hills, and Steve, your winemaker, was the one who guided the tour, and his passion for the product and his knowledge, and it was just so much fun and educational. And he's like, well, you got to taste this. And he'd pour a little, and there were small tastes, no one was having way too much. And that was the concern. You're like, no, it's lunchtime, and it's a work day. But no, it was so much enjoyable. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve's a very approachable winemaker and a great guy. And we're lucky to have him. And he has passion. I mean, even in a bad harvest year, or, the fruit's not that great, he always has a way to, he's a creative winemaker, let me put it that way. He can make it happen. So
and he shared some of that, of how he was trying out different products, and sometimes I'll throw in this yeast, and maybe it's not good, and so, okay, well, we'll try something different.
Right, it's science is what it is. Yeah. It really is, it's a science,
But hearing his honesty about it, and instead of just saying, well, we make this wine, and here's how you do it, like, well, sometimes, you mess up, or sometimes it's not the outcome that you want. And so it was a really earnest and honest tour, and it was just so nice.
And you'll see that. That's another thing that drew me to Eola Hills. It's basically a family, business, if you look at it that way. We have shareholders, but not a lot, and it's really driven that way. So that everybody has integrity, and it's just a great little.
So what would you say has been in your career, before or during, with Eola, what has been one of your greatest professional accomplishments?
Before or at Eola?
Yeah, whichever you prefer. Just what's the greatest professional accomplishment?
Well, I think when I got down to Oregon State, my dad and I started that little store together from nothing, I mean, just nothing. We built it, I mean, it was basically my dad was still working, and I ran that store with an old retired school teacher. And we built that business, ended up buying the property, had that for about 18 years together until he passed. And it was really probably just watching something grow like that and working and seeing it evolve is probably one of my, I'd have to say that.
And work with
my dad. You know, that was a bonus.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's very special.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure during 16 years with Eola Hills, you've seen it really grow.
I have. I've seen
as well.
Yeah, ups and downs. You know, things get tight, but we all roll our sleeves up and buckle up, and it's kind of that same work ethic that I was raised that way. So. Yeah.
And you're always on the go. And you're always like you're going out to there's some wine event at Newport, for example, or you're going up to McMinnville, or you're always on the go. You're rarely sitting still.
Right. I am now, kind of clicking my feet.
10 minutes of being calm.
Absolutely. You know what? That's part of the business. You know, and I enjoy that. You know, and it's the relationship thing. I mean, that's. I love hanging out with people and talking about wine. There's nothing that, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Right.
You know, it's a good thing. So
what would you say has been one of your greatest personal accomplishments?
Wow, in my life?
Yeah.
Wow, probably my boys. My two boys. I have one graduating today, Cody.
Yay.
So exciting. Get him out of the nest. Yeah. Probably that. I'd say, you know what, I've raising two young men, you know, they're both teenagers and older and getting there, and I think it has its challenges, but it's we're all learning at the same time, and I think that's probably one of my, I mean, I could say running a marathon and doing all this, which I've done and stuff, but I think, and it'll continue. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a continued accomplishment, let me tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Your graduation is a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
But fatherhood remains.
Absolutely. You got that right. So, yeah.
Now, you're an avid cyclist.
I cycle and run. Running is my passion,
okay.
But I started cycling about 10 years ago, so I've kind of
And you've incorporated some cycling with the Eola Hills.
We do. We have our Bike Oregon Wine Country, which actually Tom started in conjunction with Cycle Oregon.
Okay.
And then when I came on, we had a limited amount of riders, so we did some extra marketing and kind of raised the bar a little bit. Now we have between 200 and 300 cyclists on a given Sunday, every Sunday in August, and it's a blast. It's a fully supported ride. We have lunch stops. We have a big barbecue at the end and drink wine, and it's a fun day.
Where are the routes on those Sundays?
Well, we have a northern route and a southern route.
Okay.
So the southern route's through Polk County, and then we go into Benton County for a little bit, and then of course the northern route heads north up towards Amity and cuts through those areas. So the northern route's a little more hills, a little more challenging. Southern route, a little more flat, scenic. We stop at the Rogue Brewery Hop Yard. It's one of the stops. We stop at wineries, so you're tasting wine if you want to. So
right.
You're not drinking wine, you're tasting.
Right.
It's kind of hard to
keep on the bike.
Yeah. Haven't really had an incident like that with anybody getting out of hand because of that. But and the county works great with us with permitting and stuff. So it's been a good little match.
And so that's 200 to 300 people on their bikes every Sunday.
Every Sunday in August.
That's huge for the community.
Yeah, we start in the morning, and it brings those folks come in, they spend money in the communities, and so it drives everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know cycling is becoming a bigger interest for a lot of Polk County as more cycling events are held here. I mean, you're doing yours in August. Cycle Oregon's coming back this summer for a weekend camp. I think that's what they're calling it. Bike MS is held here every year.
Yeah, we
Rogue's
actually managed the beer and
one.
wine garden for that.
Yeah,
so we'll be here for that.
Great.
Yeah, we have a connection with Cycle Oregon also. During the week-long ride, I managed a beer and wine garden for that and get to cycle a few days. But yeah, they'll be here for the weekend, and we'll be here.
Yeah.
That's a great. Yeah.
So it's just one more cycling component, and
it is. It's a huge part of and a lot of those cyclists are wine savvy and they drink wine. And so it's a good combo.
And bikes aren't cheap.
No.
So you're looking at people who are not going to be upset if a bottle of wine is
correct.
Not what you would find at other locations.
Right. Exactly. You got that right. Yeah.
So, now my favorite question I get to ask of these chamber chats: what is a skill, a hobby, or an interest that you have that would surprise people?
Well, we've already talked about cycling. We've already talked about running. I really dig country music.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of a country music junkie. I like to get on my on iTunes and find the new stuff, and it's kind of it can add up. Those little $1.20 songs that you click, they can add up. But I guess that's kind of that would be something I just have a passion for. We actually sponsor the Oregon Jamboree. It's a nonprofit. Also, I don't know if anybody knows that, but and I love going and doing that kind of stuff.
So that probably explains why when I have come into Eola Hills before to your tasting room,
you're going to hear some country
I hear
music
some
going.
country music
Absolutely.
Rose in town. Okay,
That's
Rose
right.
in the house, so to say.
And as soon as I'm out of there, everybody's changing the station. Yeah.
Their favorite.
That's right.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for being
You
here. I
betcha.
really appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it.